I never thought I'd have to make that phone call. But there I was, standing in our bedroom, their bedroom, staring at 3 empty coffee mugs on the nightstand that would never be washed. Hannah always left hers half-finished, said she loved the idea of coffee more than the actual drinking. My hands wouldn't stop shaking as I scrolled through my contacts. Mom, Dad. I pressed call before I could think about it too much. Ethan? My father's voice came through, slightly annoyed. I'd probably interrupted dinner. Dad, The words caught in my throat like broken glass. Hannah and the kids. There was an accident. Silence. Then, what kind of accident? They're gone, Dad. All 3 of them. The truck came out of nowhere and... I couldn't finish. My knees buckled and I sank onto the carpet. The phone pressed so hard against my ear it hurt. Gone? What do you mean gone? Dead, Dad. They're dead. Hannah, Sophie, and Ben. They're all dead. I heard my mother's voice in the background. Who is it? Is that Ethan? It's Ethan, my father said, his voice muffled as he pulled the phone away. There's been some kind of accident. Let me talk to him. Shuffling sounds, then my mother's voice, clearer now. Ethan, sweetheart, what happened? I tried to explain again. The intersection. The truck that ran the red light. How I was supposed to be with them but stayed home to finish a work presentation. How I got the call from the hospital. How I identified their bodies one by one. My 6-year-old daughter still holding her brother's hand. My mother made sympathetic noises. Oh, Ethan. Oh, honey, that's just... I don't even know what to say. The funeral is Tuesday, I managed. Tuesday at 2 at St. Michael's. I need you both there. I can't do this alone. Another silence. Longer this time. Tuesday? My father said. He'd taken the phone back. This Tuesday? As in 4 days from now? Yes. The funeral home said, Ethan, that's Jessica's birthday. I blinked. Surely I'd heard wrong. What? Tuesday is your sister's 30th birthday. Your mother has been planning this dinner for months. The whole family is coming. Aunts, uncles, cousins. We can't just cancel. I stood up slowly, the room spinning. Dad, my wife and children are dead. I understand that, son, and we're very sorry. But Jessica's birthday is a birthday. The words exploded out of me. It happens every year. My kids will never have another birthday. Hannah will never... My voice cracked. Please, I'm begging you. I need you there. We'll send flowers, my father said, his tone cooling. And we'll come visit after Jessica's celebration. Maybe Wednesday or Thursday. I need you at the funeral. Ethan, you're being unreasonable. Your sister has been looking forward to this for months. Your mother has catered food, decorations, a cake from that expensive bakery downtown. We can't just throw all that away. You're throwing me away. Don't be dramatic. We'll come see you right after. It's just 1 day. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. My chest felt hollow, like someone had reached in and scooped out everything vital. Hold on. Your mother wants to talk to you. More shuffling. Ethan? My mother's voice was gentle, almost coaxing. Honey, you understand, don't you? This is Jessica's milestone birthday, her 30th. We can't disappoint her. Mom? We'll send a beautiful arrangement. White lilies. Hannah loved white lilies, didn't she? Mom, please. And we'll drive up Thursday. We'll take you to dinner, somewhere nice. We'll talk about everything then. When you're feeling more settled. I won't be feeling settled on Thursday, or Friday, or ever again. You're in shock, sweetie. That's understandable. But you'll see. In a few days, you'll understand why we can't miss Jessica's party. She'd be devastated. I'm devastated. I know, honey, I know, but you're strong. You've always been the strong one. Jessica, she needs us more, you know? She's more sensitive. I lowered the phone and stared at it like it was something alien. When I raised it back to my ear, my mother was still talking. Send that lovely card, too. The sympathy one with the sunset on it. Very tasteful. Now we have to go. There's still so much to do before Tuesday. You take care of yourself, okay? We love you. The line went dead. I sat there on the bedroom floor, surrounded by Hannah's things, and something inside me went quiet. Not peaceful, just empty. Before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe. And hit hype to boost this episode. Drop a comment below with your city or country. I'm always curious where viewers are joining from. The funeral was on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. I wore the suit Hannah had bought me for our anniversary, navy blue. She said it made my eyes look brighter. I didn't look in the mirror to check. The church was maybe half full. Friends from Hannah's work, my former colleagues, neighbors, our kids' teachers, Ben's soccer coach, Sophie's dance instructor, people I'd seen at birthday parties and school events, people whose names I should have known better than I did. But no parents, no sister, no one from the family I'd grown up with. My best friend Marcus stood beside me during the service. I felt him glance toward the entrance every few minutes, probably hoping they'd show up late. They didn't. The priest talked about Hannah's kindness, about how Sophie had her mother's laugh, about how Ben had just learned to tie his shoes and was so proud he'd shown everyone at church last Sunday. People cried. I didn't. I couldn't. Everything felt distant, like I was watching it happen to someone else. Afterward, at the reception, people approached me with careful faces. "Your parents couldn't make it?" Marcus's wife, Jennifer, asked quietly. "They had a prior commitment?" "Oh," she looked confused. "I'm sorry. That must be hard." "It's fine." "It's not fine, Ethan." But I walked away before she could say more. An older woman from Hannah's office cornered me by the coffee. "I'm sure your parents wanted to be here," she said. "Sometimes grief makes it impossible to face these things. They're probably too broken up to come." I nodded and let her believe it. It was easier than explaining. Marcus didn't let me off as easy. He found me outside, smoking a cigarette I'd bummed from someone even though I'd quit 5 years ago. "Where are they?" he asked. "At my sister's birthday party." He stared at me. "You're joking." "Do I look like I'm joking?" "Ethan, what the hell?" "Drop it, Marcus." "How can I drop it? Your parents chose a birthday party over." "I said drop it!" I threw the cigarette down, barely smoked. "What do you want me to say? That my parents have always been like this. That nothing I've ever done has been as important as what Jessica does. That I buried my wife and kids alone because I've never actually mattered to them." Marcus looked stricken. "Man, I didn't... It's fine. I'm fine. I just want to go home." "You can't be alone right now." "I'm already alone." I left, drove back to the house that was too quiet, too empty, too full of ghosts. I walked through rooms that still smelled like my family. Hannah's lavender shampoo, Sophie's strawberry lip gloss, Ben's sweaty sneakers by the door. I couldn't stay there. I put the house on the market 2 weeks later. Sold it for less than it was worth because I needed it gone. Took only what fit in my car, some clothes, a box of photos, Hannah's laptop, and a leather portfolio I'd never seen before. I found a cabin an hour outside the city. Small, isolated, exactly what I needed. My phone rang constantly those first few weeks. My mother, mostly, my father, occasionally. Jessica sent long text messages about how hurt everyone was that I'd left without saying goodbye, how I was being selfish, how they'd been trying to be supportive. I blocked all of them. Marcus kept checking in. I let those calls go to voicemail until he finally stopped trying. The cabin had no internet, no TV, just silence and woods and the weight of everything I'd lost. One night, about a month after I'd moved in, I opened Hannah's laptop. I'd been avoiding it, afraid of what I'd find. Love letters to me, photos of the kids, shopping lists and work emails, and all the mundane digital evidence of a life that no longer existed. But what I found was something else entirely. A folder labeled Project Phoenix. Inside were dozens of files, technical drawings, engineering specifications, patent applications, business plans, investor pitch decks, 3D renderings of a device I didn't recognize. Hannah had been an electrical engineer before Sophie was born. She'd taken time off to raise the kids, always saying she'd go back when they were older. I knew she tinkered with designs in her spare time, but I'd never looked closely, never asked enough questions. This wasn't tinkering, this was years of work. The device was an emergency beacon system for first responders, firefighters, paramedics, search and rescue. It combined GPS tracking, biometric monitoring, and a dead man switch that would automatically call for help if the wearer became incapacitated. The design was elegant, efficient, revolutionary. There were notes in the margins, written in Hannah's looping handwriting. Could save hundreds of lives annually. Need to find manufacturer who can meet waterproof specs. Talk to Ethan about business license? That last one gutted me. She'd wanted my help, my input, and I'd been too busy, too focused on my own career to notice what she was building. I stayed up all night reading through every file. By morning, I'd made a decision. I was going to build this. For her. For them. I threw myself into Project Phoenix with the single-minded focus of someone who had nothing left to lose. I taught myself everything I didn't know. Manufacturing processes, supply chain management, patent law. I reached out to Hannah's former colleagues, introducing myself as her widower, asking if they could review her designs. Most were happy to help. Some even offered to come aboard. I used the insurance money and the proceeds from selling the house, rented a small office space, hired a prototype manufacturer, worked 18-hour days. The first version didn't work, the second barely functioned, the third caught fire during testing. I didn't care. I kept going. Sleep became optional. Food became fuel. The cabin was just a place to shower and collapse for a few hours before driving back to the office. Marcus showed up one day, 3 months in, let himself into the office and found me surrounded by circuit boards and empty coffee cups. "You look like hell," he said. "Thanks for the input. When's the last time you ate?" I ate. When? I couldn't remember. Yesterday? He sighed and pulled up a chair. "Ethan, I'm worried about you." "Don't be. You've disappeared. You won't talk to anyone. You're living in the middle of nowhere, working on some project." "Hannah's project. I'm finishing what she started." That stopped him. "What?" I explained. Showed him the designs, the prototypes, the vision. He listened quietly, then looked at me with something like understanding. "This is how you're dealing with it," he said. "The grief. This is how I'm honoring them." "Ethan, I don't want to talk about my feelings, Marcus. I want to make this work. I want to create something that matters, something that saves lives. That's all I have left." He studied me for a long moment. "Okay, what do you need?" "What? What do you need? Money, contacts, another engineer? I can't let you do this alone." I almost told him to leave, almost pushed him away like I'd pushed everyone else away, but something in his face, genuine concern, genuine friendship, made me stop. "I need an investor meeting," I said. "Someone who specializes in emergency tech." "I know someone. Let me make a call." The breakthrough came 6 months after I'd started. Version 7 of the device finally worked. Every test passed. The biometrics were accurate. The GPS was precise. The alert system was foolproof. I brought it to a venture capital firm that specialized in public safety technology. 3 partners sat across from me in a glass conference room while I demonstrated how a firefighter could enter a burning building, and if their heart rate dropped or they stopped moving, the device would instantly alert their entire team with their exact location. "It's remarkable," one of them said. "The applications are endless. Police, military, even industrial workers in hazardous environments." "My wife designed it," I said. "She never got to see it work." The room went quiet. "She passed away?" 6 months ago, along with our 2 children. More silence, uncomfortable this time. "I'm sorry," the lead partner said. I can't imagine." "I'm not telling you for sympathy. I'm telling you because this device was her dream, and I'm going to make sure it becomes a reality, with or without your investment." They glanced at each other. "We'll need to review the numbers," the lead partner said. "But preliminarily, we're very interested." 2 weeks later, they offered me $2 million for 30% equity. I accepted. The media found out 3 weeks after that. I'd tried to keep a low profile, but someone at the investor firm leaked the story. Suddenly, I was getting calls from reporters, requests for interviews, interest from major news outlets. Local widower creates life-saving technology to honor late wife's vision. From tragedy to triumph, the story of Project Phoenix. Father who lost everything builds empire on wife's dream. The headlines spread. Local news became regional news, became national news. My face was everywhere. My story was everywhere. Hannah's story was everywhere. The office phone wouldn't stop ringing. My email inbox exploded. Reporters camped outside the building. I ignored most of it. Did one interview with a respected tech journalist who focused on the device itself rather than the tragedy. Declined everything else. But the story had momentum now. It was out there, spreading, growing, taking on a life of its own. That's when my phone started buzzing with unfamiliar numbers. I let them all go to voicemail, until I saw the names attached. Dad, Mom, Jessica, dozens of calls, back to back, frantic voicemails. "Ethan, call me immediately." "This is urgent, Ethan. We need to talk." "I don't understand what's happening. Why didn't you tell us? Call me back right now." I deleted them all without listening to the full messages. Then came the emails. Subject, what is going on? Subject, call your father. Subject, why are we finding out about this from the news? I archived them without reading. Marcus came into my office that afternoon with a strange look on his face. "You've got visitors," he said. "Tell them I'm busy." "Ethan, it's your parents." Everything stopped. The ambient noise of the office faded. I looked up at Marcus slowly. "What?" "Your parents and sister. They're in the lobby. They said they drove up from the city. They want to see you." "Tell them I'm not here." They saw your car in the parking lot. Tell them I don't want to see them. Marcus hesitated. Are you sure? Maybe you should. Marcus. I kept my voice level. Tell them to leave. He nodded and disappeared. I turned back to my computer, but couldn't focus. My hands were shaking again, just like they had when I called them that terrible night 6 months ago. 10 minutes later, Marcus returned. They won't leave. They're saying they'll wait as long as it takes. I stood up, grabbed my jacket. Then I'll talk to them. You want me to come with you? No, this is something I need to do alone. The lobby was bright and modern, all glass and steel and inspirational quotes on the walls. My parents and Jessica stood near the entrance, looking out of place and uncomfortable. My father saw me first. He was wearing a suit, like he'd come from something important. My mother had on her church outfit. Jessica was in jeans and a sweater, her arms crossed defensively. Ethan! My mother rushed toward me, arms outstretched. I took a step back. She stopped, hurt flashing across her face. Don't, I said. Honey, we just want to talk. Now you want to talk. 6 months ago, you didn't want to come to my family's funeral, but now that I'm in the news, now that there's money and attention involved, suddenly you want to talk. My father cleared his throat. Son, you're being unfair. We've been trying to reach you for weeks. You've been trying to reach me for 3 days, since the story broke. That's not true? It's exactly true. I checked. The first call came Tuesday morning, right after the article ran in the Times. Before that, nothing. 6 months of nothing. Jessica stepped forward. Ethan, you blocked our numbers. How were we supposed to reach you? You could have tried harder. You could have driven up here months ago. You could have shown up at the cabin. You could have done literally anything besides wait until I was successful to care about me. We did care, my mother said, her voice rising. We sent flowers. We called. We tried. You sent flowers and went to a birthday party. My voice was cold, distant, like I was talking about someone else's life. While I identified my daughter's body in a morgue, you were eating cake. The receptionist at the front desk was watching now. So were a few employees who'd wandered into the lobby. I didn't care. My father's face had gone red. You're being unreasonable. You're holding one mistake against us. It wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. You chose Jessica's birthday over my family's funeral. You chose her over me, like you always have. That's not fair, Jessica said, her voice small. I didn't know you felt... Of course you didn't know. Because you've never had to think about anyone but yourself. Mom and Dad made sure of that. My mother's eyes filled with tears. We love you, Ethan. We've always loved you. No, you've always loved Jessica. I was just the reliable one, the one who didn't need anything, the one you could ignore because I wouldn't complain. That's not true? It is true, and I'm done pretending otherwise. I pulled out my phone and opened the security app. I'm going to show you something. I pulled up the lobby camera footage and rewound it too when they'd first arrived. Turned the phone so they could see. Watch this. On the screen, they approached the receptionist. My father's voice was clear through the phone's speaker. We're here to see Ethan Ward. We're his family. The receptionist, following the instructions I'd given weeks ago, responded exactly as I'd told her to. I'm sorry, Mr. Ward doesn't have any family. Would you like to leave a message? On the video, my parents exchanged horrified looks. My mother's hand went to her mouth. What do you mean he doesn't have family? My father said. We're his parents. That's his sister. According to our records, Mr. Ward has no living relatives. If you'd like to schedule an appointment, this is ridiculous. We're his parents. The receptionist remained calm, professional. I understand, but I can only go by the information Mr. Ward provided. He was very clear. I stopped the video. My family stared at me. You told them we're dead? Jessica whispered. No, I told them I have no family. Because I don't. Not anymore. My mother was crying openly now. Ethan, please. We made a mistake. We should have been there. But you can't just cut us out of your life. I'm not cutting you out. You were never in. Not really. Not when it mattered. My father tried a different approach. His voice softened, became almost pleading. Son, we want to be part of this. What you're building here, it's incredible. Your wife would be so proud. Let us help. Let us support you. Like you supported me at the funeral? We can't change the past, but we can be here now. I don't want you here now. The words came out harder than I meant them to. I needed you then, when everything was falling apart, when I couldn't breathe without remembering how Sophie's hand felt in mine when I identified her body, When I woke up every morning and forgot for half a second that they were gone, and then had to remember all over again. That's when I needed you. We didn't understand, my mother started. You didn't want to understand. It was inconvenient, messy. It would have ruined Jessica's party. Well, congratulations. You got exactly what you wanted. A perfect birthday celebration while your son buried his entire world. Jessica spoke up, her voice defensive. I didn't know it would. I thought you'd understand. It was my 30th birthday, a milestone. I'd been planning it for months. I looked at her, really looked at her. She was 30 years old and still couldn't see past her own nose. I hope your party was everything you dreamed of, I said. I hope the cake was delicious and the presents were perfect. I hope it was worth it. Ethan, I have work to do. Marcus will show you out. I turned to walk away, but my father grabbed my arm. You don't get to do this. We're your family. I yanked my arm free. No, Hannah was my family. Sophie and Ben were my family, and they're gone. You're just the people who raised me. There's a difference. Please, my mother sobbed. Don't do this. We're so proud of you. This company you're building, this technology. You're not proud of me. You're proud of what I've become. There's a difference there, too. I walked back to my office and closed the door. Through the glass walls, I could see Marcus gently but firmly directing them toward the exit. My mother kept looking back, reaching toward me like she could pull me back with sheer will. I sat down at my desk and opened my laptop, pulled up the photos from Hannah's computer, Sophie grinning with her 2 front teeth missing, Ben covered in mud from soccer practice, Hannah laughing at something off camera, her whole face lit up with joy. These were the people who mattered. These were the people I was building this for. Everyone else was just noise. The company exploded after that. Orders poured in from fire departments, police stations, search and rescue operations. We hired more engineers, more salespeople, more support staff, moved into a larger building, started development on version 2. I worked around the clock, attended meetings, made decisions, gave interviews when I absolutely had to. The tech journalists loved the story. Widower turns tragedy into triumph, builds empire on dead wife's dream. It was compelling, inspirational. I hated every second of it. But I kept going because stopping meant thinking, and thinking meant remembering, and remembering meant feeling. Better to work, better to build, better to create something that mattered. My parents tried to contact me a few more times. Letters mostly, since I'd blocked their numbers and emails. Long, emotional letters about mistakes and regrets and wanting to be part of my life. I burned them without reading past the first few lines. Jessica got married 8 months after I cut them off. I found out through a former neighbor who still had my number. She sent me photos, Jessica in a white dress, my parents beaming beside her, the whole family gathered for another celebration. I was glad I wasn't there. Marcus remained my only real connection to the outside world. He'd check in weekly, make sure I was eating, drag me out for dinner occasionally. You can't live like this forever, he said one night over drinks. Like what? Like a ghost. Going through the motions but not actually living. I'm living. I'm running a successful company. I'm employing 50 people. I'm saving lives with Hannah's technology. You're not happy. I don't deserve to be happy. They're dead, and I'm not. That's the reality. That's survivor's guilt talking. That's grief talking, and it doesn't go away just because I've built something successful. Marcus sighed. I'm not saying you should get over it. I'm saying you should let someone in. Talk to someone, a therapist maybe. I don't need a therapist. Everyone needs a therapist, man, especially someone who's been through what you've been through. I'm fine. You're not fine. You're functioning. There's a difference. Maybe he was right, but I didn't care enough to find out. The 1-year anniversary of their deaths came and went. I spent it alone in the cabin, looking through photos, reading through Hannah's notes on Project Phoenix, letting myself feel everything I'd been pushing down for 12 months. It broke me open all over again. I called in sick for the first time since starting the company, spent 3 days in bed, unable to move, unable to think, unable to do anything but exist in the crushing weight of their absence. On the 4th day, I got up, showered, drove to the cemetery. I hadn't been back since the funeral. Their graves were side by side. Hannah in the middle, Sophie on her left, Ben on her right, the way they used to sit on the couch for movie nights. Someone had left fresh flowers. Marcus, probably. Or maybe Jennifer. I sat down on the grass between Hannah and Sophie's graves. I'm sorry I haven't been here, I said out loud. I'm sorry for a lot of things. I should have been with you that day. I should have finished the presentation later. I should have been driving. I should have... My voice broke. I miss you, all of you, every single day. And I know I'm supposed to move on, supposed to heal, supposed to find a way to keep living. But I don't know how to do that when you were my whole life. The wind rustled through the trees. A bird called somewhere overhead. I built your company, Han. Project Phoenix. It's real. It's saving lives. But it doesn't feel like enough. Nothing feels like enough without you here to see it. I stayed until the sun started setting, talked to them about everything, the business, Marcus, the awful day I'd had with my parents. It helped, somehow, made them feel less far away. As I was leaving, my phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "This is Jessica. I got your number from Marcus. I need to talk to you. It's important. Please." I almost deleted it, almost blocked the number and forgot about it. But something stopped me, maybe exhaustion, maybe curiosity. Maybe just the fact that I'd spent the afternoon talking to gravestones and was feeling raw enough to make bad decisions. I texted back, "What do you want?" 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "Can we meet? Just you and me? No parents? I need to tell you something. I have nothing to say to you. Please, Ethan. I understand if you hate me, but I need to talk to you, just once. Then I'll leave you alone forever, if that's what you want." I stared at the message. Every logical part of my brain screamed at me to refuse, to maintain the boundaries I'd set, to protect myself from more disappointment. But another part, a smaller, sadder part, wondered what she could possibly need to say. "1 meeting," I typed. 1 hour. Then you're out of my life for good. Thank you. Tomorrow? There's a coffee shop on 5th Street. The Blue Mug. Do you know it? I'll find it. 2 o'clock? Fine. I drove back to the cabin wondering if I just made a terrible mistake. The Blue Mug was exactly the kind of place Jessica would pick. Trendy, expensive, full of people on laptops pretending to work. I got there 15 minutes early and ordered black coffee I didn't drink. Jessica arrived exactly on time, which surprised me. Punctuality had never been her strong suit. She looked different, thinner, tired. Her hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail instead of the elaborate styles she usually favored. "Ethan," she slid into the seat across from me. "Thank you for coming." "You have an hour," she flinched but nodded. "I deserve that." "You deserve worse than that." "I know." She twisted her hands together. "I've been wanting to talk to you for months, but I didn't know how, didn't know what to say." "How about I'm sorry?" That's usually where people start. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. For everything. For my birthday party. For not coming to the funeral. For not being there when you needed me. For..." Her voice cracked. "For being a selfish, horrible person who only thought about herself." I sipped my coffee. Waited. "I've been going to therapy," she continued. "Since the wedding. That's when it really hit me, you know? Looking around at the reception, seeing Mom and Dad and all our relatives and realizing you weren't there. Would never be there again, and it was my fault. It's all of your faults." "I know, but I was the reason. My birthday, my big milestone, my celebration. If it had been any other weekend..." "There's always going to be something, Jessica. Another birthday, another celebration, another reason why you're more important than anything happening in my life." She swallowed hard. "Mom and Dad have always treated me differently. I know that. I've always known that. And I let them because it was easier. Because being the favorite meant getting attention and love and all the things I wanted. But I never thought about what it cost you. It cost me everything." "I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Tears were running down her face now. "Your wife and children died, and I cared more about birthday cake and presents. What kind of person does that?" "A selfish one." "Yes, exactly that. A selfish, spoiled person who thought the world revolved around her." She wiped at her eyes. "After you cut us off, Mom had a breakdown. Did you know that?" "No." "She did. Started seeing a therapist, too. Realized how badly she treated you our whole lives. How she'd always prioritized me over you. How she'd failed you in the worst possible moment." "Good. She should realize that. She wants to apologize, to try to fix things. There's nothing to fix. It's done. Over. I don't want a relationship with people who couldn't be bothered to show up when my family died." Jessica nodded slowly. "I understand. I do. But I need you to know she's changed. Dad, too. They see it now. How wrong they were. They see it now because I'm successful, because I'm in the news, because cutting me off has social consequences they don't like." "That's not..." She stopped. Okay, maybe that's part of it, but it's not all of it. They miss you. They want you back in their lives. Well, I don't want them in mine. We sat in silence for a moment. The coffee shop buzzed around us. I'm not here to convince you to forgive them, Jessica said finally. I don't think you should. They don't deserve it. I don't deserve it. I'm here because I need you to know that I see it now. I see what we did to you, and I'm horrified by it. Okay. And I want to try. To be better. To be the sister I should have been all along. It's too late for that. I know. But maybe it's not too late for me to at least acknowledge how badly I failed you. To tell you that I'm proud of what you built. That Hannah would be proud. That your kids would think their dad was a superhero. Something in my chest cracked. Just a little. Don't, I said. Don't talk about them. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. You have no right to talk about them. You never met them. You never cared about them. You don't get to use them to make yourself feel better about what you did. You're right. I'm sorry. She stood up. I've said what I needed to say. I won't bother you again, but if you ever want to talk, or need anything, or just want to yell at me some more, I'm here, okay? I'm here now, even though I wasn't before. She left without waiting for a response. I sat there for another hour, nursing cold coffee and wondering why I felt worse instead of better. 6 more months passed. The company continued to grow. We expanded internationally, won industry awards, got written up in major publications. I did a TED Talk, appeared on a few podcasts, became, against my will, a minor public figure. I hated all of it, but I kept going because that's what Hannah would have wanted. She'd dreamed of changing the world with her invention. I was making that happen. That had to be enough. Marcus threw a party for the company's 2nd anniversary, insisted I attend. I showed up for 20 minutes, made a speech, and left. You're getting worse, not better, he said when he found me in the parking lot. I'm fine. You're a robot. You function, you work, you exist, but you don't live. This is living. No, it's not. It's surviving, and barely. What do you want from me, Marcus? You want me to be happy? To move on? To forget them? I want you to honor them by actually living, not by slowly killing yourself with work. I'm not... You're 42 years old and you look 60. You don't sleep. You barely eat. You have no friends besides me, and you only tolerate me because I force my way into your life. This isn't sustainable. It's working so far. It's not working. You're dying, Ethan. Maybe not physically, but in every way that matters. And Hannah wouldn't want this for you. Don't tell me what Hannah would want. Someone needs to. Because you've forgotten. You've turned her memory into this burden you carry instead of a gift you celebrate. I celebrate her every day. This whole company is a celebration of her. This company is a monument. That's different. I got in my car without responding, drove back to the cabin, sat in the dark. He was wrong. He had to be wrong. But part of me wondered if maybe he was right. The breaking point came 3 weeks later. I was at the office late reviewing manufacturing specs when I got a call from a fire chief in Colorado. One of our devices had malfunctioned during a wildfire rescue. A firefighter had been trapped in a burning building. The device failed to send an alert, and he'd barely made it out alive. It was the first major failure we'd had. I flew to Colorado immediately, met with the fire chief, examined the device, interviewed the firefighter. The problem was a software bug, a rare one triggered by extreme heat combined with specific GPS coordinates. We'd never encountered it in testing, but that didn't matter. What mattered was that someone had almost died using Hannah's technology. I called an emergency meeting with the engineering team as soon as I got back. We worked for 72 hours straight, identifying the bug, fixing it, testing the fix, preparing an immediate software update for every device in the field. On the 4th day, I collapsed. Just blacked out at my desk. Woke up in the hospital with Marcus sitting beside me. Exhaustion, he said. Dehydration, malnutrition. The doctor says you're lucky you didn't have a heart attack. I need to get back to the office. You need to rest. The devices are being updated as we speak. The team has it under control. You don't have to do everything yourself. It's my responsibility. Hannah's design, my company, my failure. It's not a failure, it's a bug. One bug out of thousands of successful deployments. You caught it. You fixed it. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. I closed my eyes. Someone almost died. But they didn't. The device worked well enough that he made it out. And now it'll work even better. That's how technology improves. I can't lose this company, Marcus. It's all I have left of her. You're not going to lose the company, but you might lose yourself if you keep going like this. The doctor kept me overnight for observation. Released me the next morning with strict orders to rest, eat regularly, and consider taking a vacation. I ignored all of it. But I did start thinking about what Marcus had said, about dying in all the ways that mattered, about monuments versus celebrations, about what Hannah would actually want for me. I went back to the cemetery, sat down in my usual spot between Hannah and Sophie's graves. The grass was brown now. Autumn had arrived without me noticing. I don't know what I'm doing anymore, I said. I built your company. It's successful. It's saving lives. But it's not making me any less dead inside. The wind blew leaves across the graves. Marcus thinks I'm killing myself. Maybe he's right. I don't sleep much. Food doesn't taste like anything. Most days I go through the motions and try not to think about how much I miss you. A couple walked past in the distance, holding hands, visiting their own dead. The device malfunctioned. Someone almost got hurt. And all I could think was that I'd failed you, that I couldn't even do this one thing right. The one thing that was supposed to matter. My voice cracked. I don't know how to do this, Han. I don't know how to live in a world where you're not here, where I can't call you when something good happens or something scary happens, or when I just miss your voice. I don't know how to be a person without you. I sat there until my legs went numb, until the sun started setting, until I'd said everything I needed to say. As I was standing up to leave, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello? Mr. Ward? This is Chief Patterson, from Colorado. We met last week. Yes, I remember. Is everything okay with the devices? Everything's fine. Better than fine, actually. I'm calling because I wanted to tell you something. That firefighter, Davis, the one who had the malfunction. He was back in the field yesterday. House fire, family trapped inside. He made it in, got them all out safely. But here's the thing. He fell through a weak floor on his way out. Hit his head. Was unconscious for almost 2 minutes. My heart stopped. And your device saved his life. The new update worked perfectly. Instant alert with exact location. We had him out of there in under 3 minutes. Paramedics said another 5 minutes, and he might not have made it. I couldn't speak. I wanted you to know, the chief continued. Your device saved one of my men yesterday. And that family he rescued. 3 kids under 10 years old. They're alive because your technology kept my firefighter safe. So thank you, really, thank you. He hung up. I stood there in the cemetery, phone still pressed to my ear, and started crying. Not sad crying, not grief crying, something else, something that felt almost like hope. Hannah's invention had saved someone's life, multiple lives. It was working exactly the way she'd dreamed it would. We did it, Han, I whispered. Your device saved them, just like you wanted. For the first time in 2 years, I felt like I'd done something right. That night, I did something I hadn't done in months. I opened my laptop and started typing. Not engineering specs or business plans. A letter to Hannah. I wrote everything. How much I missed her. How lost I'd been. How I'd pushed everyone away. How I'd built her company but lost myself in the process. How I didn't know how to move forward but was starting to think maybe I needed to try. It took hours. The sun came up while I was still typing. When I finally finished, I read through it once. Then I saved it in a folder alongside all her old Project Phoenix files. It didn't fix anything, didn't bring her back, didn't make the grief disappear, but it helped. The next day, I called Marcus. I need a favor, I said. Name it. I need you to help me hire a CEO. Silence. Then, what? I want to step back, not completely. I'll stay on as founder and chairman. But I need someone else to run the day-to-day operations, someone who can actually manage people and make decisions without having a breakdown every 6 weeks. Ethan, are you sure? No, but I'm doing it anyway. Hannah built something incredible. I finished it, but I'm not the right person to lead it long-term. It needs someone who can see it as a business, not a memorial. What will you do? I don't know yet. Rest, maybe. Sleep. Actually eat meals at regular times. Figure out how to be alive instead of just existing. I think that's a good idea. Marcus? Yeah? Thank you for not giving up on me, even when I gave up on myself. That's what friends do. We hired a CEO 3 months later, a woman named Sarah Chen who'd run emergency services companies for 20 years. She was brilliant, efficient, and had no emotional attachment to the project. Perfect. I stayed involved, attended board meetings, reviewed major decisions, but I wasn't working 18-hour days anymore, wasn't sleeping in my office, wasn't measuring my worth by how much I could push myself. It felt strange. Good, but strange. I started seeing a therapist, not because I wanted to, but because Marcus and Jennifer staged an intervention and I was too tired to argue. The therapist was a woman in her 60s named Dr. Morrison who didn't take any of my bullshit. "You're using work as an avoidance mechanism," she said in our third session. "I'm honoring my wife's memory. You're hiding from your grief. There's a difference. I'm not hiding. I face it every day. No, you face the work. You face the company. You face the technology, but you don't face your actual feelings. When's the last time you let yourself just be sad? I'm sad every day. When's the last time you let yourself feel it? Really feel it? Not push it down and work through it, but actually sit with it and let it exist?" I didn't have an answer. She assigned me homework. Spend 1 hour every week doing nothing but feeling. No work, no distractions, just sitting with whatever emotions came up. I hated it. But I did it. A year passed, then another. The company thrived under Sarah's leadership, expanded into new markets, developed new products, became the industry standard for emergency responder safety technology. I stayed involved, but at a distance, attended quarterly meetings, approved major initiatives, gave the occasional speech at industry conferences, but mostly I tried to build an actual life. I renovated the cabin, learned to cook, took up woodworking, started hiking the trails around my property. I called Marcus more often, had dinner with him and Jennifer once a month, even met some of their friends occasionally. I didn't date, couldn't imagine it. But I stopped feeling like a ghost, started feeling like an actual person again, damaged, broken, still grieving, but alive. My parents kept trying to reconnect. Letters, emails that somehow got past my filters, care packages I donated without opening. I didn't respond to any of it. Jessica tried too, less frequently. A card on my birthday, a text on the anniversary of Hannah's death saying she was thinking of me. I didn't respond to those either. Dr. Morrison thought I should consider forgiveness. "Not for them," she said. "For you. Holding on to anger takes energy. Energy you could use for healing." "I'm not angry." "You're furious, and you have every right to be. But at some point, you have to decide if being right is more important than being free." "I am free. I cut them out. I moved on." "You didn't move on. You moved away. That's different." I didn't want to hear it, so I changed the subject. The 4th anniversary of their deaths came and went. I spent it at the cemetery, like always. But this time I brought flowers. White lilies, the kind Hannah loved. "I'm doing better," I told her. "Not great, not healed, but better. The company's doing well. Saved over 1,000 lives last year. Can you believe that? 1,000 people are alive because of what you created." A gentle rain started falling. "I'm seeing a therapist. She's kind of a hard ass, but in a good way. Makes me actually deal with my shit instead of just burying it in work. You'd like her." I adjusted the flowers on Sophie's grave, then Ben's. "I miss you guys every single day. Miss Sophie's terrible knock-knock jokes. Miss Ben's obsession with dinosaurs. Miss Hannah's laugh and the way she'd hum while she cooked and how she'd always steal the blankets at night." The rain picked up, but I'm trying to live again, trying to be the person you'd want me to be. Not just surviving, but actually living. It's hard. Some days it's really hard, but I'm trying. I sat there until I was soaked through. Then I drove home, changed into dry clothes, and made myself dinner. It was a small thing, a normal thing, but it felt like progress. The phone call came on a Tuesday. I almost didn't answer. Unknown number again. But something made me pick up. "Is this Ethan Ward?" A woman's voice, professional but warm. "Yes." "My name is Dr. Lisa Chen. I'm an emergency room physician at County General. I'm calling about your sister, Jessica Ward." My stomach dropped. "What happened?" "She was in a car accident this morning. She's stable, but she's asking for you. She gave us your number and said you were her only emergency contact." "Her only? What about our parents?" A pause. "She said to call you first. Can you come?" I didn't know what to say. "How bad is it?" "Broken leg, some internal bruising, concussion. She'll recover fully, but she's pretty shaken up. She really wants to see you." I looked at the clock. Almost noon. The hospital was 2 hours away. "I'll be there," I heard myself say. I drove too fast. Got there in 90 minutes. Found Jessica in a private room, leg in a cast, bruises blooming across her face. She looked small in the hospital bed. Fragile. She opened her eyes when I walked in. Tears immediately started falling. "You came," she whispered. "The doctor said you were in an accident." Some guy ran a red light, plowed right into my driver's side. They said I was lucky. If he'd been going faster or hit me 6 inches further forward, she trailed off. I pulled up a chair. Didn't know what to do with my hands. Where are Mom and Dad? I didn't call them yet. I called you first. Why? Because you're the person I wanted. When I woke up and realized I was alive, the first person I thought of was you. Not my husband, not Mom and Dad. You. Jessica. I know you don't want to hear this. I know I don't deserve to say it. But when I thought I might die, all I could think about was how I never got to make things right with you. How I'd wasted 4 years not trying harder. How I'd let you disappear from my life because it was easier than facing what we did to you. I didn't say anything. I've been in therapy this whole time, working on myself, trying to understand why I was the way I was, and I've learned a lot about boundaries and entitlement, and how Mom and Dad damaged both of us in different ways. But none of it mattered because you weren't in my life anymore. I couldn't be. You know why. I know, and I don't blame you, but I need you to know. I've changed. Really changed. Not because you became successful, not because cutting me off had consequences, but because losing you made me realize what a terrible person I'd been. She reached for my hand. I didn't pull away. I can't fix what happened. I can't give you back the support you needed when Hannah and the kids died. I can't change the fact that we chose a birthday party over your family's funeral. But I can tell you that I see it now. I see all of it. And I'm so sorry. I don't know if I can forgive you. I'm not asking you to. I'm just asking you to let me try. To be the sister I should have been. Even if you never trust me again, even if we never have a real relationship, I want to try. I looked at her bruised face, her tear-filled eyes, her desperation to fix something that might be permanently broken. Okay, I said quietly. Okay? You can try. I'm not promising anything. I'm not saying we'll ever be close, but you can try. She started crying harder. Thank you. Thank you so much. We sat there for a while. I didn't let go of her hand. Eventually, she asked, Will you call Mom and Dad? Tell them what happened? I don't think I can deal with them right now. Yeah, I'll call them. Thank you. I stepped into the hallway and dialed my father's number. He answered on the first ring. Ethan. Jessica was in a car accident. She's okay, but she's at County General, room 304. What? When? Is she? She's fine. Broken leg, concussion, but she'll recover. We're leaving right now. Are you there? Yes. We'll be there in 2 hours. Don't leave, please. I hung up without responding. They arrived 90 minutes later, frantic and terrified. My mother burst into the room and immediately started fussing over Jessica. My father stood in the doorway, looking older than I remembered. I stood up to leave. Ethan, wait. My father's voice. I turned. Thank you for being here, for calling us. I nodded and walked out. I made it to my car before my mother caught up with me. Ethan, please, just give me 1 minute. I need to go. I know, but please, just 1 minute. I leaned against my car, arms crossed. She looked older, too, tired. The perfect facade she'd always maintained had cracked. I'm sorry, she said. I know I've said it before, in letters you never read, in messages you ignored, but I need to say it to your face. I'm sorry. For everything. For prioritizing Jessica over you your whole life. For not coming to the funeral. For failing you in the worst possible moment. For being a terrible mother. You were a fine mother to Jessica. I was an okay mother to Jessica, but I was a terrible mother to you, and I'll regret that for the rest of my life. Good. She flinched but nodded. I deserve that. You deserve worse than that. I know, but I'm hoping, I'm praying, that someday you might be able to forgive me. Not today, maybe not ever, but someday. I don't know if I can. I understand. But I want you to know that I've changed. Your father and I both have. We've been in counseling, working through our issues, trying to understand how we failed you so completely. And we see it now. We see everything. 4 years too late. Yes, 4 years too late. But better late than never, right? She tried to smile. Failed. I looked at this woman who'd given birth to me, raised me, and then abandoned me when I needed her most. Part of me wanted to yell at her. Part of me wanted to forgive her. Most of me just wanted to leave. I'm glad Jessica called me, I said finally. I'm glad I was here for her. But that doesn't mean I'm ready to have you back in my life. I understand. Maybe someday, but not today. That's more than I hoped for. She reached out like she might touch my arm, then thought better of it. Thank you for coming. for being there for your sister. You're a good man, Ethan. A better man than we deserved. I got in my car and drove away without looking back. Jessica recovered. We started texting occasionally, nothing deep, just checking in, making sure she was healing okay. It was strange and uncomfortable and tentative, but it was something. She invited me to Thanksgiving. I declined, but sent a card instead. Small progress. She sent me photos of her physical therapy, making jokes about how she couldn't run a marathon anymore, but could at least walk without crutches. I sent back a thumbs-up emoji, baby steps. My parents kept their distance, respecting the boundaries I'd set. But I could tell from Jessica that they were trying, really trying. Going to therapy, reading books about family dynamics, making changes in their lives. It didn't fix anything, but it was something. Dr. Morrison was pleased. "You're engaging again," she said. "That's huge progress." I answered some texts. That's not progress. It is for you. 6 months ago, you wouldn't even read her messages. Now you're responding. You showed up at the hospital. You called your parents. Those are enormous steps. It still hurts. Of course it hurts. It's going to hurt for a long time. Maybe forever. But you're not letting the hurt paralyze you anymore. That's growth. Maybe she was right. 5 years after Hannah and the kids died, I finally felt like I could breathe again. Not easily, not without pain, but I could breathe. The company had saved over 5,000 lives. Hannah's invention had become the industry standard. Her dream had come true, even if she wasn't here to see it. I'd started volunteering at a grief support group, talking to other people who'd lost family members, sharing my story, listening to theirs. It helped more than I expected. Jessica and I had lunch once a month now. We talked about safe things, her work, my hobbies, mutual acquaintances. We didn't talk about the past. Not yet. Maybe never. But we were building something new, something fragile but real. I even had dinner with my parents once. It was awkward and painful, and I left after 45 minutes. But I went. That had to count for something. I still went to the cemetery every week. Still talked to Hannah and the kids. Still missed them with an intensity that sometimes took my breath away. But I was living again. Really living, not just surviving or existing or going through the motions. I'd joined a woodworking class, made some friends who knew nothing about my past and just thought I was a quiet guy who liked building furniture. I'd even adopted a dog, a golden retriever named Murphy, who thought I was the greatest human who ever lived. It helped, having something to take care of, something that needed me. Life wasn't good, it wasn't healed, it would never be the same as it was before. But it was life, and I was finally living it. The call came on a random Thursday. Sarah, the CEO, with news that the company had been approached by a major corporation interested in acquisition. "It's a good offer," she said. "More than generous. And they want to keep everything intact. The mission, the team, the technology. They just want to fold it into their emergency services division." What do you think? I think it might be time. We've accomplished what we set out to do. The technology is established. It's saving lives. Taking this offer would ensure that continues on a much larger scale. And you? What would you do? They want me to stay on and run the division. It's a good opportunity, but I won't do it if you're not comfortable. This is your wife's legacy. I looked out my office window at the bustling workspace below. All these people working on Hannah's dream. All these lives being saved by her invention. She'd want it to reach as many people as possible, I said. She didn't care about money or recognition. She just wanted to help people. If this deal does that, then we should take it. Are you sure? I'm sure. We sold the company 3 months later. The deal made me wealthier than I'd ever imagined. More money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. I set up a foundation in Hannah's name, scholarships for engineering students, grants for safety technology research, support for families who'd lost loved ones to preventable accidents. I kept enough to live comfortably and gave away the rest. Dr. Morrison asked me how it felt to close that chapter. Empty, I admitted. That company was my connection to her, my way of keeping her alive. Now it's gone. It's not gone. It's evolved, just like you have. The technology is out there, saving lives. That's her legacy. But it doesn't have to be your entire identity anymore. What's my identity supposed to be now? That's up to you. Who do you want to be? I didn't have an answer. I spent the next year figuring it out. Traveled a little. Read books. Took more classes. Volunteered at the grief support group more regularly. Even started leading some sessions. I was 47 years old and rebuilding my life from scratch. It was terrifying and liberating in equal measure. Jessica had a baby, a daughter she named Hannah after my wife. She called to ask permission first, crying on the phone, saying she'd understand if it was too painful. I said yes. It felt right. I visited them in the hospital, held my niece for the first time, looked at her tiny face, and felt something shift inside me. She's beautiful, I told Jessica. Thank you for not hating me, Jessica whispered. I never hated you. I hated what you did. There's a difference. Is there? Yeah, there is. My parents were there too. We all stood around the hospital bed in awkward silence until the baby started fussing and the moment passed. But it was something. Another small step forward. 6 years after the accident, I went on a date. A woman from my woodworking class asked me to coffee. I said yes before I could talk myself out of it. Her name was Rachel. She was divorced with one teenage son. She knew nothing about my past except that I'd lost people and wasn't ready to talk about it yet. We had coffee, then dinner, then another dinner. It wasn't like it was with Hannah. It could never be like that again. But it was nice, comfortable, a reminder that maybe I wasn't completely broken. Dr. Morrison was thrilled. You're engaging with the world again, she said. That's huge. It's just coffee. It's not just coffee. It's you choosing to be open to possibility. That's enormous growth. I still miss them every day. Of course you do. You always will. But you're learning to live alongside the grief instead of underneath it. That's the goal. Rachel and I dated for 8 months before I finally told her everything. About Hannah and the kids, about the accident, about my parents' betrayal, about the company and the isolation and the slow climb back to being human. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she took my hand. Thank you for telling me, she said. You're not running away screaming? Why would I do that? You've been through something terrible and you survived. That's not scary. It's impressive. I'm still kind of a mess. Everyone's kind of a mess. You're just honest about it. We broke up 3 months later, not because of my past, but because we wanted different things for the future. It hurt, but not in the devastating way I'd feared. I was learning that not all endings had to be catastrophic. 7 years after losing my family, I had lunch with my parents. Real lunch, not just showing up out of obligation and leaving early. Actual conversation. My father had retired. My mother had taken up painting. They'd moved to a smaller house, closer to Jessica and baby Hannah. We talked about safe things at first, the weather, their new house, Rachel, and how the relationship had ended. Then, over dessert, my father said, I want to tell you something. I waited. I've spent the last 7 years wishing I could go back and make a different choice. That phone call you made, when you told us about the accident, I replay it constantly. And every time, I imagine myself saying, we'll be there. We'll cancel everything and be there. But I didn't say that. I chose wrong. And I have to live with that forever. My mother reached across the table like she might take my hand, then thought better of it. We both do. We failed you in the worst possible way. And we know we can never make that right. But we're grateful, so grateful, that you're giving us another chance. Even a small one. I looked at these two elderly people who'd caused me so much pain. Who'd chosen a birthday party over their son's devastating loss. Who'd let me bury my family alone. Part of me would never forgive them. But another part, a growing part, understood that people were complicated. That parents could fail spectacularly and still deserve compassion. That holding on to anger forever would hurt me more than them. I'm not saying everything is okay, I said carefully, because it's not. What you did was unforgivable, and I'm still angry about it. Maybe I always will be. They nodded, neither of them arguing. But, I continued, I can see that you're trying, that you've changed, and I appreciate that. It doesn't fix the past, but it matters for the future. We'll keep trying, my father said, for as long as you'll let us. Okay, I said, we'll see how it goes. It wasn't forgiveness. Not really, but it was a door opening slightly. A possibility of something different. Maybe that was enough. 8 years after the accident, I returned to the cemetery. I'd been visiting regularly, but this time felt different. Heavier, more final. I sat down between Hannah and Sophie's graves and took a deep breath. I have something to tell you, I said. Something big. A bird landed on Ben's headstone, cocked its head at me, then flew away. I'm selling the cabin, moving closer to the city. I joined the board of the foundation, and it's easier if I'm not 2 hours away. Plus, Murphy needs more space to run, and there's a house with a big yard that would be perfect. The wind rustled through the trees. I'm also thinking about going back to school, getting a degree in social work or counseling, something where I can help people who are going through what I went through. The grief group has been good, but I want to do more. I adjusted the flowers I'd brought. And I'm okay, Hannah. Finally, genuinely okay. I still miss you. I still think about you every single day. I still wish you were here to see how many lives your invention saved, but I'm not drowning anymore. I'm not just surviving. I'm actually living. Tears ran down my face, but they felt different than before. Sad, yes, but also grateful. Relieved. Thank you, I said, for loving me, for giving me Sophie and Ben, for creating something beautiful that helped so many people, for showing me what real love looked like. You gave me everything that mattered, even if I only got to keep it for a little while. I stood up slowly, my knees protesting. I'll keep visiting. I'll keep talking to you. I'll keep you all alive in my memories and my heart. But I'm also going to keep living, because that's what you'd want. That's what you all would want. I walked away without looking back.